Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is part 9 of the evil mother-in-law saga. Of course, if you're seeing this for the first time, you need to go start from the beginning. This story is not the part or the one you need to start from half. You need to start from the beginning. For one thing, I'll promise you, you're going to get enriched. This story will enrich you.
Part 9 of the Mother Gothel series. Before I tell you how this all finally breaks, you need to understand the two men in Penny's life. Because what was happening behind those walls is the reason she ended up moving in with us. And that's where the story finally catches up to the present. Max. Max controlled the house. His word is final. He goes on long rants. He talks in paragraphs and no one else can finish. He dominates every room. And if you disagree with him, you become the enemy. Within a year of Colton and I being together, Max stopped speaking to us entirely, just erased us. He never acknowledged my children. 10 years. 10 years of pretending we didn't exist. He could have been their grandfather. He chose not to. Max didn't start talking to us because he had a change of heart. He started talking to us when he needed something. And when Penny broke both of her wrists, that's when he started texting me, asking me to clean up, to help, to pick things up. And the more Penny opened up, the more concerning things that started to come out. Penny was on disability, around 13.
Now, you guys, if you remember what I've been saying, women like this, oftentimes, they are together with emotionally unavailable men. Did I say it? That's why they turn on to their children. And Cotton was the best thing that, as a husband she could get. All that training and emotion she wanted from a man, she poured it into Cotton, groomed him to be the kind of man she wanted. So now, he's a go-to for affection. And this woman came to take that away from her after she has finished training him.
$100 a month. Max takes $900 of it. She told me he wanted more. When June passed away, Penny received $25,000 in life insurance. After funeral costs were taken out, Max made her give him $8,000. $8,000. I told her not to, but she did. He also changed her life insurance beneficiaries from her sons to himself. She told me she didn't realize what she signed and that she had always wanted it to be her sons. So we changed it back together. When Penny broke both of her wrists, I thought that would be the moment things changed. It wasn't. She couldn't open pill bottles. She couldn't wash her hair. She couldn't cook. She couldn't clean. And Max was home, but he stayed downstairs. And this is the part I realized something was really wrong. She went 3 weeks without washing her hair because no one helped her. I had to take her to a salon to get it washed. She has the thickest, most beautiful hair I have ever seen, but at this point it wasn't just a typical shampoo. I couldn't just wash it. She needed help. She told me there were flies around the sink. She told me the toilet stopped working and he wouldn't do anything about it. She told me she was trying to pull the trash with 2 broken arms because she couldn't stand the mess.
And just imagine, and God brought you a good, compassionate woman that will make life easy for you. But what did you do? You turned against her. I guess she's pouring all the anger from the rubbish man she has in the house. All the anger she would have poured on him, she now poured it on this girl.
Because Max wouldn't do anything. And this is where things get disturbing. She texted me, "I'm about to have a nervous breakdown." She said he would come upstairs, complain about him being in pain, and then go back downstairs. She said he would scream at her when she fell. She said he kicked through the door, yelling at the dog, acting like a madman. I have these texts and videos. And I would drive over with my kids when I could, but that wasn't all the time. Penny began sending me videos, saying something wasn't right. Max couldn't stand straight. He wasn't remembering conversations, and he would drive around like that. I told her it was because of the pills. Max had problems with prescription pills for years, and it kept getting worse. She said she thought he was stressing her out on purpose, triggering seizures so she wouldn't be able to leave him. I have that on video too. This was not a rumor. This was not gossip. These were texts that she showed me. Videos, phone calls. This is what she told me her life was. One time my daughter had an accident and she needed a sleep-deprived EEG. She wanted Nani to come over. Max screamed at her for even considering it, even though she had stayed over plenty of times before. He would say, "Who's going to be there? Why are you going there?" Penny would text me, "I can't keep living like this." She asked me to help her look for an apartment. She said she was depressed, she wasn't happy, that he screamed at her, that he called her horrible things. I even have a text from Max that says, "No more. Every time either of you chooses to ignore my wishes, there will be consequences." I'm assuming he was talking to Penny and Kieran. All of his texts sound like that. As Kieran got older, he saw the narcissistic tendencies and he also moved away from having anything to do with Max. I would try to encourage Penny, tell her she deserves more. She shouldn't be treated this way. And then if she needed somewhere to go, she can always come here. Something else that Max did that was horrible. Penny has always had dogs. Always. Female dogs. When her dog died, Sadie, she was devastated. She said Sadie was her spirit animal. Max went out and got himself a male Rottweiler, his dog, and Penny wasn't allowed to get one of her own. It sounds small, but it isn't. Because a dog is not just a pet to her. They were her comfort, her companionship, her routine. And now even that wasn't hers. There are a lot more stories about Max, but I'm trying to condense for you guys. These are the reasons I opened my door to her. There were times I genuinely worried about her safety. And at that point, she now had me believing she was a victim. So soon I started documenting things, not to build a case, but because Max had a habit of saving messages. He would save the worst things we had said in arguments with Penny, the things written in the real heat of the fights, but without the context behind them. And I'm not going to pretend we never said things we regret, because we did. We were defensive, we were angry, but conflict without context is easy to weaponize. So I started saving context, because I knew it might matter. This was life inside Penny's house. The fighting, the chaos, the control. And eventually, Penny started telling me she couldn't live there anymore. She asked if I could help her find somewhere to go. And then she asked if she could stay with us. But before we get to that, you need to understand Kieran just a little bit, and then we'll get straight to current events. I have already said that Kieran was a kid when I entered the picture. He was 12 or 13, and he was hearing one version of events. We never blamed Kieran. Max was his father figure. Penny and Max controlled the narrative. So when Colton and I moved out and things became tense, Kieran was left in the middle of it. Looking back now, I think there was a lot of misunderstanding on both sides. From our perspective, we assumed Kieran wanted nothing to do with us. He was always out with friends. He never reached out to Colton. And with everything that was being said about us at the time, we genuinely believed he hated us. Colton thought Kieran didn't want a relationship with him. So instead of pushing, he stepped back. He waited until Kieran was ready to reach out. But Kieran never did, and so Colton never did. Family conflict doesn't just affect the people fighting, it affects the people standing in the middle. We were young, we were constantly under attack, and we were focused on surviving that. In the process, Kieran probably felt left behind. I wish he had...
And I can imagine as a kid himself, he was have been thinking my elder brother that would have been my shoulder to lean on left me too. Oh, I can
told
imagine.
us these things or talked to us, I truly do, because there are things that we would change if we could. We invited him over countless times to drink, to hang out, to just be normal. He has always been welcome in my home. In 4 years in this house, I think he's been here 3 times. And my kids adore him, and they adore his girlfriend, Elena. He's a fun-loving, carefree, reckless uncle. He's the one who spends hours outside just messing around. They wish they saw him more, and that hurts. We have had to accept that this relationship will never heal, and that's painful. And instead of repairing the relationship, Penny created tension between the siblings. So information gets filtered, stories get rewritten, one child becomes the problem, the other becomes the safe one. Over time, that creates mistrust, resentment, distance. I watched that happen. When Colton stepped outside Penny's control, he became the villain. When Kieran moved out, it was normal. Same action, different reaction. That kind of inconsistency fractures siblings. I don't think Kieran and Colton were ever given a fair chance to just be brothers. Penny has tried talking to me badly about Elena before, and I shut that down immediately. Elena is an outsider like I am, and I will never allow another woman to be villainized the way that I was. That stops with me. One of the things that hurts the most is that Kieran never really got to know Colton, not the real him. He got the version of Colton that existed inside conflict, defensive, guarded, trying to prove he wasn't the villain, but that's not who he is. Colton is steady, loyal, slow to anger, quick to forgive. We call him Captain America because he always tries to do the right thing, even when it's hard. And that's part of the reason he's never been able to completely cut off his mother. Colton is the best human I have ever known. I know some people watching this series have said, why didn't you just run? Or you had a choice not to marry into a toxic family. But once Colton came into my life and I fell in love with him, why would I let anyone push me out of that? He wasn't the toxic one. It wasn't his fault how he was raised. He just needed someone strong enough to stand beside him through everything his mother threw at us. But the truth is, Kieran has never gotten to see that side of Colton. They were positioned as opposites before they were ever allowed to just be brothers. Because I think if they had been given a fair environment, they would have been close. And that's something that will always hurt. Kieran and I have actually gotten into screaming matches before. We're both quick. We're both hot-headed. I wish he understood our side more. I wish he understood what it feels like when your children are repeatedly let down. But he hasn't lived that, and I don't know if he ever will. As far as I know, Karen stays out of most of the conflict. But I also know that when we argue with Penny, she talks to him. And I don't know what narrative he hears. And that's part of what led to what happened next.
My heart is panting fast. I think like what will happen now is gonna be something huge. Guys. Oof, I'll see you in the next part.